Victoria here. Welcome to the first part of Gail's second Swiss Reflex treatment with me in the Bothy. As you can see, we're chatting here, but sadly the audio didn't record. So just on this very first part, I'm going to tell you what we were talking about here. I was introducing Gail to the Bothy and also explaining what treatment I was going to be giving, a Swiss Reflex treatment, and also asking Gail how she felt. So for her last treatment that you'll have seen, she did mention before entering that she was feeling some degree of worry, anxiety. COVID was everywhere at the time, and there was a lot of unknowns a year or two ago. So it was making her quite anxious. Having had very regular Swiss Reflex treatments with me, she's now feeling much better, and she's able to vocalise that with me. She says she feels so much calmer and coping, in control. There are more knowns. That's what was so worrying about COVID while it was affecting us all with isolating and hospitalisations, etc., affecting family and friends. It was all the unknowns. So yes, I'm simply treating her feet again, whereas just treating the feet helps the whole body. It indeed helps the mind as well, as it helps our nervous system, our solar plexus, and how we're feeling. During the hour on the couch, it's a very relaxing treatment, as you'll see. But the effect of the reflexology continues for the length of time in between treatments. And I try to hook up treatments so that people feel better for longer. And I will see them more frequently if necessary, but otherwise maybe weekly at first, going to fortnightly, and then monthly if they desire that. In Gail's case, she likes coming about fortnightly, and she is so much stronger and healthier for it. I'm now asking Gail if she'd like a sarong, which has been on the radiator to cover her body right up to her shoulders. Even though it's really warm in the Bothy, I've got all sorts of heating on. It's nice to feel a covering and protected. She's saying here that these socks are the luckiest socks in the world because they're going on the radiator, ready for going back on at the end of the treatment. Okay, so I'm just going to warm up the pads, ready for washing the feet. Nice hot water. I'm going to introduce a little Roman chamomile hydrolat. I use a range of hydrolats. At the moment I've got frankincense, melissa, peppermint and chamomile. I think I might also have rose and orange, and they're nice ones to use. Ah, lovely. Okay. Oh, I can smell that. Can you smell that? No? Lovely. So just wiping off the feet with a lovely hydrolat. All around the ankles, heels, soles. So I'm going to start off the treatment by checking the feet. So with Swiss Reflex, we check all of the body areas on the feet first. Then we mix up a solution, so it could be a shea butter or a reflexology oil or cream. And then as an aromatherapist, I tend to put essential oils in with it as well, once I know what the feet are telling me. And then I massage the whole feet first before giving a focused reflex treatment to specific parts that were shouting the loudest during the assessment. I have a little chart of feet where I'm always marking down the areas because I'll never remember them all. I say them all, sometimes hardly any come up, which is good, and I notice that the more treatments you're having, the fewer areas come up.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean that's the way it should be, really, you know, sign of a good therapist. I wouldn't want more and more each time. So just having a little feel, introducing my hands to the feet. Just having a little check first of all for how the feet are feeling, the skin, the muscle, the bones, whether they're malleable, warm, any cold spots, any harder areas of bone reaching out to me saying, come and have a look at me, come and sort me out. As Gail has had a few now, these aren't too bad. There's a little bit there, so I know already that's going to be right ear and right deltoid shoulder point. As we were just saying in the introduction and the chat, we've talked about mental health, anxiety, COVID, etc. And the areas that were coming up in the feet were particularly here. So this one and this one. It's just about here in us, which is our solar plexus. And this hard bit of bone here, maybe I'll just bring you a bit nearer. So this hard bone here, just underneath, there's an upside down V, and there's soft tissue underneath it. If you like, that's the ribs coming together and then the diaphragm underneath. And there's a network of nerves there called the solar plexus, and that can feel a little bit strained. You know, there's lots of different sensations. Sometimes it can feel vulnerable, like it needs supporting, like a little bit weak. You know, the solar plexus in chakra terms is all to do with self-esteem, self-confidence, contentment, inner peace. And I have a feeling Gail's in a good place, because this is so much better than it used to be, and this one particularly, so Gail's right foot, really nice and soft and just feels happy. A little bit of support needed there, but so much better than before. So I'm just going to have a feel the same places as the other foot. Yeah, so left shoulder point. Left ear doesn't feel the same as the right ear. Yeah, so the right ear, I don't know if you can feel that. Can you feel that that is a little bit, I don't know if sore is too strong a word, but it's very difficult to describe a feeling sometimes, especially with reflexology. It just feels a little bit vulnerable and like the bone is protruding more than the other side. So that's your right, that's your left. Do you feel any difference between them?
Yeah, that one is different, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that one feels not too bad. So I'm going to start checking the body over. So solar plexus. I'm going to check over the nervous system first of all. Now we're going to have a look at the sciatic nerve coming from the lower back and pressing quite firmly across lower back through the buttock and down the left leg. And a lot of people have issues with the sciatic nerve
creating sciatica. And that doesn't feel too bad. I'm going to feel the other side, so starting at the lower back, round and down the leg. There's a little bit there, so I'm just going to make a note of that. So just on the side of the foot, it was about here, but on the right foot, just a little bit of maybe soreness. I mean, that might be adding to any knee pain. It feels like it's about here, just above the knee, right hand side. I mean, I wouldn't normally mention all of these. Of course, I am being very picky. I'm looking for everything, because I want to be able to help whatever it is, because a lot of the time with reflexology particularly, you're preventing, you're stopping it becoming a problem. Okay, so nervous system, let's have a look at the glands. So I'm going to check out the pituitary gland, which is just here in the big toe. Of course, we only have one pituitary gland, but because the head is split into two in reflexology terms, it's over here as well. And it's actually at the point where, if you were to look at your thumb print, we have a print on all of our fingers and toes as well. And at the centre of the circle, the print there will be a concentration of print. And just there is where the pituitary gland is. Pituitary is a tiny little gland just behind the third eye, in the middle of the forehead here. And it accounts for the control of all the hormones in the body, not just reproductive hormones, but thyroid, thyroxine, and adrenaline from the adrenal glands, etc. So many. It's got a very important role, even though it's small. It just feels a bit tight on your right hand side. I might look at that. Just making a note. So, glands, let's have a look at the thyroid. So I'm coming up the right side of the thyroid, up to the parathyroid in the top. It feels alright, nice and strong actually. A little bit tight at the top, so just the parathyroid, which controls the thyroid. Let's just have a feel of that. No, it's all right on your right, just on your left. And let's carry on with the respiratory system. So I'm going to come up the lungs, left lung first, using the pad of my thumb, coming up in this fashion. Now, quite often, of course, we're 1st of February I'm filming this, so in the middle of winter in England. There are lots of bugs, coughs and colds around. Of course, we're just coming out of mask wearing, so a lot of us are protected from those coughs and colds and flu, etc. The lungs don't feel too bad. And I happen to know that Gail does some breath work with, is it Tai Chi?
Yes.
And meditation and things, so the lungs are getting good exercise. Let's try out the right one. Yeah, no, they feel good, so I'm going to have, now we're on the respiratory system, I'm just going to have a look at the left eye. So that's just between toe 3 and 4, at the base, if you like, the windowsill underneath them. And just having a feel there. Left eye feels fine. It's interesting actually, the eyes and ears, so I'm now at the ear. Left ear, again on the windowsill between toe 4 and 5. And it's interesting with eyes and ears, they're really obvious if there's something not right with them. Like I said earlier with this one. So eye is okay, right side. And of calling out a little bit on your ear. Yeah, okay, so respiratory system, sinuses. So I'm just going to support the foot behind, or the toes, and then just putting a little bit of pressure on each toe pad. And you'll notice I've got very short nails, if at all, so I'm certainly not using any nail when I'm doing this. However, to the client, they often feel like I am using nails, even though it's just skin and thumb pad. Because that's how, when there is a congestion in the meridian, in the energy line, that's how it can feel. It can feel like a nail, or even a needle, like not just at the surface but deep within. It can feel like brown sugar, that type of feeling, quite gritty, and quite often it can feel like a bruise, like they have previously trodden on a stone when I press. But of course none of that is happening, it's just that it's a congestion in the meridian, the energy line. And this is why reflexology is so good, because you're getting to the meridian hopefully before it becomes a problem. So I'm clearing those meridians that work their way all the way through the body to each of the extremities. So we have reflex points also in our hands, in our ears, and in our faces. But reflexology to the feet is the most common type of reflexology, because there is a beautiful whole map of the body on the soles of the feet and around them. Quite often you hear of reflexology points being used on the ears, because acupuncturists will use the ear as an upside down fetus. So the head is the lobe, the spine runs round that inside bony area, the cartilage there. Yeah, and of course we've all got very different ears, we've all got very different bodies, but our ear will always reflect what our body is like. The same with our feet, with reflexology. So, carrying on, we have looked at the respiratory system. Now going to have a look at the beautiful skeletal system. So I'm going to start on the right side of your neck here, and I'm going to work my way down in a caterpillar track movement down the inside edge of your foot, which actually forms a beautiful gully that I am sussing out, checking out to see if there's any congestion, tightness, pain. Quite often I can feel with my thumb what the client is feeling as I'm pushing. So I'm feeling just a little bit of tightness there, which is lowest thoracic. So just at where the thoracics are joining the back of the ribs. Okay, so let's have a look at the neck. Coming around the neck, sides and the back. Okay, it's not too bad, but I happen to know from experience and plenty of treatments with Gail that the neck has needed quite a lot of support, and even though it feels okay, I know I'm going to be working here a little bit today. So it's really good news, but I'm not going to let it go. I'm always going to look after the neck. I mean, the neck, you may know if you've watched my core therapy videos, then, oh dear, did you feel that? Sorry, a little bit of a popping feeling that, of course, there's no sound to it, you won't have heard that. But yeah, just at the back there, yeah, a little bit of a popping. So yeah, the neck definitely needs a little, and again, a little bit of help there. Okay, both sides of the neck, that's easy to do. So yeah, with core therapy, you'll have seen that the neck and the pelvis are two of the most important areas of our body to look after. Okay, so now coming up the scapula, left hand side. Scapula is the shoulder blade. Great. Coming up the shoulder point, where the deltoid and the bony part of the shoulder is. Yeah, no, it feels alright. Same again on the right hand side, coming up the scapula. Yep, and the shoulder point. So looking back at my notes from before, I know that I've treated the shoulders, the front back sides of the shoulders many times, and these are really benefiting from that. They feel so much better. Wonderful. Now I'm going to check out the joints. So I can go straight down to the hip, which is the slightly bony part of the outside of the hip edge, the foot edge. So this is the left hip. It's clicking a little. Can you feel that click?
No, I can't. No.
No. I am being picky. And then just under that we've got the left knee. That feels fine. Has it been totally fine? Or is it still...
Nearly totally fine, yeah.
Okay, okay. And then we've got the left elbow, just above the hip. So the left elbow feels a little bit inflexible, like it's tight, and I would suggest to you to do some Tai Chi or yoga or something for the elbows. I know through my Drew yoga that a really nice one for the elbows, I might as well show you one here, is called arm ringing, where we take our arms out and then out, but extending the palms around and then upwards. And once you've started near the hips and then coming out, and you're wringing them like wringing out a dishcloth, so you're actually bringing them up. Don't raise them further than your shoulders if you have high blood pressure. And coming down again, and even better is to have one palm up while you have the other.
I think we did that.
Did you do it with me recently? Yeah. This is lovely for the elbows. I can feel mine clicking now, because, and you put whatever strength feels right for you. You know, if they're sore, then just do it gently at first. And then you'll find that you'll be able to do more and more and see how it's working into the shoulder as well. Fantastic, but I know that that's, yeah, especially around there, working on my elbow. Yeah, so maybe do that, and it takes minutes or seconds. Right, elbows, right, so just make a note of that left elbow.